Hello, you're kicking off the Sunday's edition of QPVN English News Bulletin. You're with MINH and the come deadlines. Prime Minister PHAM receives by chairman of China's TRAMI Commission. Border guards proactively respond to tropical storm TRAMI. Vietnam re-elected chair of the Asia-Pacific Court Advisory Council. On October the 26th, Prime Minister PHAM met with Senior Lieutenant General Zhang Xiaoxia, Vice Chairman of the Central Military Commission of China, during his official visit to Vietnam. Also present was Senior Lieutenant General Huang Sun-Chien, Deputy Defense Minister. Prime Minister PHAM welcomed Senior Lieutenant General Zhang Xiaoxia, highlighting the importance of their strategic partnership in fostering the Vietnam-China community of shared future, carrying strategic significance. He affirmed that strengthening ties with China is a vital priority for Vietnam. Prime Minister PHAM praised the outcomes of discussions between the Vietnamese Minister of Defense and the Vice Chairman of the Central Military Commission of China, urging both militaries to enhance substantive defense and security cooperation. On maritime issues, he called for true adherence to their high-level agreements for implementation of the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea and swift completion of negotiations on the Code of Conduct for South China Sea. Senior Lieutenant General Zhang Xiaoxia expressed gratitude to Prime Minister PHAM for the meeting with the delegation, reaffirming China's commitment to its traditional friendship with Vietnam. He emphasized that the China People's Liberation Army would uphold their high-level agreements and collaborate with the Vietnam People's Army to strengthen practical and comprehensive cooperation across all areas of mutual interest. On October the 26th, the 15th National Assembly discussed the economic and social situation, the state budget, and adjustments to the National Land Use Plan. The deputies praised the government's efforts in controlling inflation, stabilizing the macroeconomy, and ensuring social welfare, highlighting increases in social assurance, support for war veterans, and social assistance. The Vietnam Fatherland Front has also mobilized over 2.15 trillion Vietnam dollars to aid those affected by Storm Jackie. The National Assembly deputies have called for the government to strengthen the institutional framework, tackle existing challenges, and expedite public investment disbursement, particularly for key national programs and projects. Some emphasized the importance of effectively implementing the semiconductor industry development strategy, proactively addressing climate change, enhancing disaster prevention and management, and improving resource management to safeguard the environment while promoting green development. Closely following the developments of Storm No. 6, the border guard force in the vulnerable areas are urgently deploying human resources, equipment, and vehicles while developing plans in response to the disaster. In Da Nang, vehicles are banned from traveling on the Sơn Trà Peninsula from 5 p.m. on October the 26th. Local fishermen are required to urgently shelter their vessels along the sea route and the Thọ Quang fishing port in Sơn Trà district. All vehicles operating at sea have been aware of the location and direction of the storm to find proper shelter. The Da Nang City Border Guard Command has issued a sea ban strictly prohibiting vessels from sailing the sea. Together with border guard units along the coast, the Quảng Nam Provincial Border Guard Command urgently mobilized forces from border guard stations and established working groups to control, guide, and arrest occurring of fishing ships, tourist boats, and sea transport vessels, while instruct ship owners on board tying tips against big waves and strong winds. Meanwhile, by the afternoon of October the 26th, the Quảng Ngãi Border Guard Command had called on more than 4,250 ships to anchor ashore. The unit has also coordinated with the local police and military forces to arrange shelters, urgently supporting fishermen to secure their boats. Vessels that are still operating at sea had received TRAMI storm warnings and were moving to ship shelters. On October 23, 1961, following a directive from the Politburo and the Central Militia Commission, the Ministry of National Defense established Unit 759, also known as the No-Number Fleet, the predecessor of Brigade 125, currently under Naval Reserve 2. Carrying forward the tradition of his heroic predecessor, over the past time, Brigade 125 has focused on training its officers and soldiers to various weapons and equipment. Special emphasis has been placed on improving mobility, combat readiness, and search and rescue operations to fully safeguard the country's maritime story. Alongside intensive training, Brigade 125 also maintains strict procedures for inspecting and maintaining equipment to ensure high technical readiness. This ensures that both troops and equipment are always prepared to carry out any mission. Whenever we carry out missions at sea, we strictly adhere to safety regulations and follow all training protocols. Thanks to consistent training, even though many of the officers are young, both in age and experience, they have shown strong leadership and troop management skill. This has helped make the unit stronger. Every time the ship goes on a mission at sea, I remind the crew that the ship isn't just fulfilling a duty, it represents our country's story on the ocean. When working under challenging conditions, facing storms and the perils of the sea is rooting for sailors. It only strengthens their resolve to protect the country's islands and maritime borders. This is why the brigade carefully plans its training programs, making full use of available equipment and resources to ensure efficiency, effectiveness, and readiness for any task.
Tổ chức huấn luyện đúng phương châm.
We follow a clear and thorough training approach that balances basic principles with practical needs. We ensure strict discipline and absolute safety in all areas, while also combining physical training with combat exercises to enhance troops' endurance, enabling them to perform well in extreme conditions. The sailors of the legendary No-Number Fleet once braved enemy bombs and storms to transport extensive supplies across thousands of nautical miles, play a crucial role in the country's victory. Today, the officers and soldiers of Brigade 125 continue that profound legacy, steadfastly steering their ships through stormy seas to deliver supplies to soldiers stationed on Chungsa Islands, Jikawan platforms, and beyond. They remain the backbone of the Navy, fully safeguarding the country's sacred maritime and island sovereignty. Coming up next, Vietnam re-elected chair of the Asia-Pacific Port Advisory Council. Vietnam aims to draw more Middle Eastern tourists. From October the 21st to the 26th in Malaysia, the Asia-Pacific Seaport Network, or APSN for short, at the Malaysian Maritime Authority hosted a series of annual events culminating in the APEC Seaport Network Advisory Council Forum 2024, themed Green Maritime Corridor. During the Advisory Council meeting, delegates from participating countries unanimously re-elected Captain Bùi Văn Quý, Deputy General Director of Saigon Newport Corporation, for a third consecutive term as chairman of the APEC Seaport Network Advisory Council. The Asia-Pacific Seaport Network commended Vietnam for its significant contributions during its tenure, highlighting innovative ideas and practical solutions that strengthen cooperation among APEC member ports, especially the initiative for a green transport corridor at the 2024 Asia-Pacific Seaport Network Forum. The Middle East region is made up of 16 countries and one territory with a total population of 453 million. It is seen as the highly potential tourist market for Vietnam. Following the trend of seeking out new experiences and destinations, Vietnam has emerged as the new destination for Middle Eastern travelers. However, attracting the Middle Eastern tourists requires the implementation of various policies and solutions with an immediate focus on more promotion of Vietnam's tourism. Vietnam is emerging as a new vacation destination for Middle Eastern tourists, with a tendency and mindset to prioritize new experiences. They seek out interesting adventures, self-destinations, and cultures they have experienced before. This is why Turkish traveler chose Ho Chi Minh City as his first destination in Vietnam. He explained that he was brought to the city by friends who told him that there is a lot to see there, from nature to culture, heritage, daily life, and cuisine.
Oh, it's an amazing place. Lovely surrounding, very friendly staff. Happy to be here. No, I have a nice big room with a balcony for very good money.
The Ho Chi Minh City Department of Tourism considers that Muslim tourism, particularly those from the Middle East, have tremendous potential for the tourism industry due to the region's big population, rapid expansion, and high expenditure on tourism activities. Experts suggest that grasping the cultural nuances and traditions of Middle Eastern tourists is key to helping businesses customize their services to better meet the expectations of this group. In Ho Chi Minh City and several southern provinces, including Ninh Thuận, An Giang, and Tây Ninh, numerous markets have been established to accommodate the daily prayer requirements of Muslim visitors. Muslim communities can be found in Ho Chi Minh City, Châu Đốc, An Giang, and a few other Mekong Delta areas. It could be helpful to arrange synchronized journeys from Ho Chi Minh City to Cần Thơ, Châu Đốc, and back to Ho Chi Minh City, so that we might take advantage of roads with services and mosques for Muslim travelers. The Middle East region, which includes 16 countries and one territory and has a population of 453 million people, is a promising and new market for Vietnam tourism. The Vietnamese language is the precious asset of the Vietnamese nation, helping reflect, maintain, and spread the identity and quintessence of the Vietnamese culture. Along with the promotion of Vietnamese language in foreign countries, there are also many typical examples of foreigners coming to Vietnam through studying Vietnamese and experiencing the Vietnamese culture. They love and understand our country more. Right now, let's listen to the sharing of Palestinian ambassador to Vietnam, Saidi Slamar, about his feelings for the Vietnamese language in particular and the culture, country, and people of Vietnam in general.
Vietnam has always been a source of encouragement and motivation for Palestinians, so I have been interested in Vietnam since I was 12 years old. I read a lot of news about the struggle to unify Vietnam under its national flag. I did not hesitate at all and chose Vietnam. I came to Vietnam not only to learn Vietnamese, but also to learn about a nation that had recorded glorious pages of history. Along with the Vietnamese language, I studied about Vietnamese politics, literature, culture, and history. All the subjects are of great value to me, helping me to contribute a small part to promoting the relationship between Palestine and Vietnam in particular, and between Vietnam and Arab countries in general. I'm always proud of my choice in becoming a scholar who studies about Vietnam. I think anyone who wishes to understand the Vietnamese people cannot fully understand them without coming to Vietnam and learning Vietnamese. Without Vietnamese, I would not have understood Vietnam as I do now. My Vietnamese vocabulary is so rich that, as my own language, no different from my mother tongue. In order to share with young Vietnamese people my experiences in the country during my 3 different terms working here, I decided to write the book entitled My Vietnam Story in Vietnamese. Many international friends are interested in and want to learn about it. I'm preparing a version in Arabic to let Arab readers understand more about the country and people of Vietnam. What is your favorite Vietnamese idiom? I really like Vietnamese idioms. I often go to the markets because Vietnamese markets are the soul of Vietnam, so I often there and joke with the vendors that they should sell me good things, don't bait and switch. There are so many Vietnamese idioms, as the elders often say, if the children surpasses his father, the home is blessed. Such words have very deep meanings. What is your favorite Vietnamese literary work? I have read many, but until now I can say that there are 2 words that I like most. First of all is the story of Kiều by Nguyễn Du. Through it, we can learn a lot of things about morality, faith and human life. And the second is Theo, which I learned when I came to Vietnam. This reflects the life of Vietnamese people in the countryside, sharing many similarities with Palestinian people. Among the Vietnamese localities, which has left the deepest impression on you? Vietnam is home to so many well-known historical relics. When it comes to nature, anyone who comes to Vietnam without visiting Ha Long Bay or Trang An is considered to have not been to Vietnam. I've been to Quảng Trị to visit the local martyrs cemetery. I was very impressed, especially when I visited Thạch Hãn River in Quảng Trị. I was very moved and recalled those who died for the country, and I also recalled many Palestinians who died for our country.
It's the end of the English News Bulletin today. We'll watch the news again at QPVN.vn. For now, goodbye and see you next time.